And now you are a legendary band. You are hailed as President Jimmy Carter's favorite band, but you're a legendary band, and you could sell out anywhere all over the country, and our little bitty Wytheville, Virginia is lucky enough to get you. What is it like for you to perform in these small town theaters?
I love them. Theaters are my favorite places to play. Now, this is a story I tell occasionally as well.
Sure.
We were still working with Orbison.
Mm-hmm.
We're in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. It's 25 degrees below zero.
Oh my gosh.
It's just torture.
Yes.
And I look backstage, the Candyman played before Roy came on.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back, before we even started, I said, Roy, there ain't but 20 people out there. I'm feeling bad for Roy, Roy says, Rodney, you get 20 crazy to come out in this weather. I think they deserve the best show we got.
You bet.
So I never forgot that. Now, I know it sounds like, but only when I say it. I don't care how many people are out there. Doesn't matter to me. I want a lot of people only for the promoters, because they're paying us, and I like for them to make money, so maybe they'll have us back again. But as far as, I don't care how many people are there. We played a gig once in, of course it was really weird. I think it was in the Carolinas. It was like $250 a ticket.
Wow.
Now, I'm not paying $250 if they dig up Elvis. But we had 100 people maybe, but the guy came out crying. I can't believe he got 100 people to come up for that kind of money. But the size of the crowd in terms of performance, I don't care. Right. And by the way, and it's not just me, it's the whole band. We spent a lot of time talking about me, but believe me, the rest of the guys are killers.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. If you could give me just a little bit on the rest of your band.
Absolutely, I'd love to. Steve Stone has been in the band 40 years. Steve has been in the band longer than any original member or anybody else. Okay? Over 40 years he's been in the band.
Great.
Justin Sinkers, our bass player, he also has probably been in the band 30 years. David Anderson is the other guitarist. And if you go to Huntsville, Alabama, where he lives, he's like an icon. He was in a band called Brother Kane, which had a big following. So we then replaced Dean with a guy named Lee Shealy. Lee Shealy has fans. He lives in Rome, Georgia, and people love him. He's a brilliant musician. He plays piano. He was a band leader, like in a high school band leader, one of those guys.
Sure.
A marching band and all that kind of stuff. He did that. And then we have Roger Stephen on drums. And Roger's been with us about 10 years, I guess. And used to play with Marty Ballard. So, they're all very accomplished musicians. Now, here's the trick. They're accomplished musicians that play like a band. Mm-hmm. You can have great musicians. But if they... they play over each other, don't listen to each other. You don't have a band. You got musicians.
Exactly.
So we play the songs with respect. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's going to leave and say, well, we did play a gig. I had virtually lost most of my voice. And we played a gig in San Juan Capistrano. So we did 3 songs, and I told the audience, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, this guy sucks. Well, you're right. I do suck, but I promise you, the rest of the guys are going to make up for it. And we had a great, great night because, we're all watch out for each other, which is very unusual, in most bands, by the way.
Well, I think that's why you've lasted 56 years.
Yes, I think that when you talk to promoters about Atlanta Rhythm Section, they'll tell you we're easy to work with. We're not, high maintenance kind of guys. We show up, we do our job, we have a good time. I think that's the case. It wasn't that case when we first started out. I mean, some of the guys in the band, believe me, you don't want to be with them. It was embarrassing.
Right. But, in researching the Atlanta Rhythm Section, was watching interviews on YouTube, and there was one in the 80s with most of the original guys, and I was just amazed at how, they talk like me. They talk like me, and they were just regular guys, but had this amazing talent. But what bothers me is that because we're in a very small town, we're in a very country town, we get pigeonholed because we're an hour one way from Andy Griffith, we're an hour the other way from Tennessee Ernie Ford. We get pigeonholed into this one genre of music. But people don't realize that on all those Aretha records, on Dusty in Memphis, on Elvis records, all of those soul and rock and roll records were played by Southern white boys.
Well, we were starting. This band was the creation of a guy named Buddy Bowie.
Right.
And that was exactly his philosophy. His philosophy was that the most authentic music would come from the South. Mm-hmm. And we were all Southerners, and there was no Southern rock to speak of when we started. In fact, who knows? Maybe we were the first. I don't know, but people think of us still as a Southern rock band. I mean, I don't think we're Southern rock band.
I don't think.
I don't know what we are, by the way. I don't know where we belong. But, to me, Southern rock bands are the Outlaws, Marshall Tucker,
Skinner,
Yeah, those are, we were singing about trailer hitches and Willie and Waylon and Jack Daniels.
Exactly. And I would not pigeonhole you as Southern rock at all. And I think that's what makes you such a legendary band, is because you cannot be defined by genre. If you cannot be defined by genre, if you don't belong in a box, then that means you can do whatever. And coming from, backing those other musicians, they had to learn to do whatever. They had to play to whoever was in front of them at the time, and that you had to have a great expansion of genre at that time. Yeah, well, like Roy Orbison, for example, he certainly was rock and roll, and he certainly was country at times.
Right.
The people
he
that
did not want to be thought of when I was with him as a country artist.
Right.
But there's certain things you can't escape.
Right.
Lived in Nashville, and there's certain countryisms that are going to come out no matter what. Well, he's from Texas. He's a Southerner.
Right. Well, I have an 11-year-old daughter who loves the Traveling Wilburys. So, that kind of music doesn't die. And, I'm on a very fixed income, but during the COVID days when we were given the stimulus money, I spent it. You said you wouldn't spend $250 to dig Elvis up. I spent $250 a piece for my wife and daughter and I to see Genesis on their last tour, but only for Phil would I do that. This is nobody else. But I tell you what, for the memory of that, you can't put a price on it. If your 7-year-old daughter likes the same band as you do, and you're sharing that moment together, there's no price.
Isn't that great?
There's no price you could put on it. And
I agree.
I tell you what,
I agree.
I have waited 20 years to see the Atlanta Rhythm section, and I am so excited to do that.
We will not let you down, I promise you.
Oh, I know that. I know it's worth every. It's going to be worth the time, and I thank you so much for giving me so much of your time today. Is there anything that I didn't cover that you'd want to talk about?
No. I go with the wind.
Yeah.
What you want to talk about is what I want to talk about.
Well, there's an interesting story, and I don't know if you're able to tell it because I don't think you were directly involved in it. But there was a couple of guys in the band that you were talking about. Leonard Skinner being the definitive Southern rock, and they were. Leonard Skinner was upstairs while the Leonard.
No. Rodney and Dean were upstairs. Dean, at one time, the band wasn't making any money. He kind of lived in one of the offices up there. And they came in drunk as hell. And I think Rodney was, "Hey, y'all, shut up down there." Right. And they all started running up the stairs to the office. They had to lock the doors behind them so they get beat.
Exactly. They quickly realized who they were messing with there, and
right.
I thought that was a good story.
Yeah, that it was. I had a band after I left the rhythm section. I moved to New York, and I worked with B.J. Thomas, sang for a guy named Roy Buchanan, and I don't know how it happened. Oh, I know what happened. B.J. Thomas's band, which is a band I put together or hired actually from Alabama, the drummer got sick of it, and they asked me to. He was also a singer, and they asked me to pitch in. So I went to Alabama and pitched in, and had a band called Beaver Teeth, and so I had that going for a while. But like I said, I thought that Atlanta Rhythm Section would be opening for me.
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah.
But people don't understand. How did you feel after you left the band and all? Then they started having hits. I was ecstatic for them.
Right.
They were still my friends.
They were all you were all brothers, basically.
Exactly. They would never come anywhere close to me where I didn't go see them. And virtually every time, Rodney would say, my friend Rodney Justo in the audience, if he hadn't left, I appreciate him leaving. I would have never had a chance. It was just very nice. Rodney was a good guy. Yeah, he
wanted to sing really, really bad, and he got his chance, and you got your chance. So so you can't knock that. Now, and you've given me so much of your time. You've been so generous already. But can you give me just a couple of minutes to talk about the guys in the band that have passed away? What is most important that we need to remember about these guys too? Because they were special.
Well, Robert was the first,
right?
And Robert was different.
Mm-hmm.
He was an intelligent guy, but he was peculiar. It was very important to Robert. He wanted to be a star.
Mm-hmm.
That was very important for him. He thought that stars acted a certain way. Let's put it that way. He had a little, let's say, full of himself, and he had problems. He and Buddy got an argument, and boom, Robert was the first guy, other than me, to go out.
Right.
So now let's talk about because he was a guitar player originally. In fact, when I first knew him, he was a guitarist. Paul hated the Atlanta Rhythm Section. He wanted to be in a progressive rock band. He wanted to be in a band like Kansas. That's what he really wanted to
So
do.
I was talking about Genesis earlier. He wanted to do something in that vein.
Maybe in a band like that. He loved Kansas. Loved, Ambrosia. He loved Ambrosia.
Right.
And then, so there's Paul. Now you got JR. JR is just a sweetheart. JR were pals from back when he was in the Classics 4.
Right.
He sang, they sang on Candyman Records, and I sang on their records, on Classics 4 records. JR was my pal. We were very good friends. His wife, is a Jewish absolute sweetheart. They have both died in his house so many times. Great guitarist, great songwriter, very intelligent. Did not like being on the road. He just did not like it.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Bailey, I knew Barry well, but I used to half-jokingly say I never heard Barry say a paragraph. Mm-hmm. He just didn't talk much. Now, when his wife died, I sent flowers, sent him a note. He, somewhere I might have it, I must have it. He sent the most wonderful letter. And he would, when it comes to writing, it was great. In fact, he's a very cool guy. When Barry died, he had MS.
Oh.
And there was a neighbor who kind of watched over him, took care of him. And he had a list of people. When he knew he was going to go, he wrote down, he says, I want you to call this person and tell them this. Call this person, tell them this. And there's a whole list. I got a call from the girl. Called me, I'm so-and-so, Barry Bailey. I wanted me to reach out to you and tell you how much he admired you, that you were a good singer, you're a better person, blah, blah, blah. So I was very, very flattered by that. Now we get to Dean Daughtry. Dean Daughtry was the keyboard player with Robert and me in the Candyman. And, Dean was just a simple old guy. Like you talk about, he talked like you. That was Dean. Mm-hmm. Dean was very happy. If he could have done anything, he would have liked to work with Jerry Lee Lewis. Okay? Right. That was his. That's who he loved the most. But I miss them all. I was friends with all of them. Wished them well. There was never any jealousy or anything like that. I tell people all the time that I thought it was kind of ill-mannered for them to start having hits once I quit. Don't you think that's rude?
I think I do a little bit, I do, but but I know in all seriousness that they are very proud and honored that you are carrying on their legacy, and I know that you do it.
Thank you. Because, we get a lot of the tribute band baloney.
Yeah.
They're just tribute band, blah, blah, blah. I came back in the band.
Right.
You know how happy Buddy Bowie was that I came back?
Right.
Barry Bailey, JR, Robert Nix. They were so happy that I was keeping the band going. And when I hear that crap about tribute bands, I want to say, if you're a real ARS fan, be grateful.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
My line is always, hey, I went to see the Yankees play. Mm-hmm. I didn't see Joe DiMaggio, no Mickey Mantle, no Babe Ruth, no Lou Gehrig. That's not the Yankees. It's the tribute Yankees.
You're right. Who says that? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People leave jobs. It happens all the time. It's a business.
Yeah.
Somebody goes, you replace them.
But it's
What's the difference?
It's still the band, and if you're no longer a fan of the band, don't come to see them. You know.
Exactly. You don't like to stay home, and while you're at it, shut up.
Exactly. Exactly. But
Right.
I am thrilled to see the Atlanta Rhythm section.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm even more honored to have talked to the original frontman of the Atlanta Rhythm section, who no doubt will be in top form on August the 9th.
Yes, sir.
It has been one of the great pleasures of my career to talk to you.
Thank you.
Sir.
The pleasure's been mine.